Today I'm rating all of the worst to best TikTok recipes of 2025. Some of them were bad. Let's start with our worst one yet. Candy corn is ranked as the most hated candy ever, and this creator thinks it's the worst, period. And I'm not gonna disagree with her, but I'm gonna see if this TikTok version could be any better than these. So she starts by boiling off some sugar, corn syrup, and it looks like honey. I'm using every last drop of the honey bottle I have here. And hopefully it stretches to 1 tablespoon. Now we're gonna melt everything, bring it to a slight boil, and then we're gonna add some butter. And then I'm gonna have to let it melt and boil to 235 degrees, I'm guessing, softball stage. Okay, so once it's at temp, it looks like she adds in some powdered sugar and a little bit of vanilla. And she's really funny because she says to concoct this, it's corn syrup, sugar, vanilla, butter, powdered sugar. All on paper tend to make beautiful creations. But for it to make something as diabolical as candy corn is baffling. Oh no, mine is so chunky. Let's keep stirring. Okay, it's starting to thicken and the powdered sugar is kind of melting into the dough, so that's good. Now we have to pour it onto our working surface. I have the silicone mat right here. Pour the whole thing out. Oh, it's thick. Huh. And it's not super sticky like taffy, which is good. I'm quite surprised. This reminds me of one of those candy shop videos where they quickly just flip it, but I'm supposed to let it cool slightly before dividing it into 3 to dye it. For the 2 larger pieces, we're gonna dye it orange and yellow. And because it's still pretty hot, I'm gonna use my tool to knead it like a dough. And we'll leave this one as is. They're so hot, I have to put some gloves on, and they're still super hot. Ah! Well, it's actually forming that like waxy texture that you see on the regular candy corn, so maybe we are headed to the right direction. It's just so hot to handle. It's starting to get kind of stiff, so let me work fast. Here's a yellow one, and then let's get a piece of the regular color. The colors are all splotchy, but once she forms it into 3 little ropes like this smushed together, this is when we finally cut it into candy corns. Little triangles. At this point, they look a lot more like cookie dough than they do candy, but you definitely get the candy corn vibes. Oh shoot, I layered them wrong. Does it even matter? I already know these are gonna taste terrible. But let's try the classic. It just tastes like a big chunk of blah, of nothing. There's like no flavor to it other than dough. But it must be nostalgia because everyone else in the comments were saying candy corn and candy pumpkins are my favorite and I can't have Halloween without having candy corn. Somebody else said, hold on, candy corn is so good. What? No, they taste like nothing. Well, let's try TikToks. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm afraid these might even be worse than these. Unfortunately, if that was her recipe, this gets, I'm really sorry, 1 out of 10. This next dessert uses only 2 ingredients, and the creator says if you blend water and chocolate, you can create light, fluffy, airy chocolate mousse. But like oil and water, I'm not sure chocolate chips and water works. Wouldn't it just split into goop and water? Someone else said, I don't know about this one. I don't like watered down hot chocolate, and this sounds like that. But now she says to blend it for 2 minutes, and I'm using my highest powered blender here. Oh my gosh, it's hot. I don't know about chocolate mousse, but I definitely have chocolate soup. But now she pours it into a bowl. The consistency is fairly smooth, if not a little bubbly. I'm still skeptical because someone said I fell for this 24 hours later and it's just runny chocolate goop. Is it a mousse or is it a mess? I want to see if it really did separate like someone said. What? So you get a mousse layer on top with chocolate flavored water at the bottom. I was lied to. I didn't realize this was a rage bait recipe. Not good. 1 out of 10. I love ice cream. I love flaming hot Cheetos, but everything about this screams scam. But why does the end result look kind of good? So let's try it. Kind of like Cold Stone, we're gonna add a scoop of ice cream onto my ice pad. Now we're gonna crush up our flaming hot Cheetos. That satisfying crunch sound. Somebody said this is how you know they're running out of ideas. But somebody else said I'm gonna eat this even if it's the death of me. And with this amount of flaming hot Cheetos, definitely gonna be the death of me. Oh my goodness. The chili powder from the flaming hot Cheetos is making the ice cream look kind of like strawberry ice cream, but it's not. Let's scoop it into a cup. They crushed even more flaming hot Cheetos on top, but I think I'm good. This has gotta be a scam. Oh, the flaming hot Cheetos. Oh my God, this is so hot. My intestines and my mouth is saying absolutely no. This is an absolute scam and it doesn't even taste good even with ice cream. 2 out of 10. If you thought that last recipe was bad, let's just say at least you don't have to eat like that in real life. Because on days where I'm momming, filming, and just keeping my life together, I've been using Cook Unity, so at least I can eat something made by an actual chef. Cook Unity is a chef-to-you meal delivery where you pick what you want for the week. It arrives fresh, never frozen, and it's ready within minutes, which is exactly what I need when I'm filming, editing, picking up the kids, and then I realize I forgot to eat. So this one is the miso ramen with chicken katsu by Chef Esther Choi. You might have seen her on Food Network, and she has her own show on First Week Feast. She also has her own restaurant in New York, but she partnered with Cook Unity, so now I can get her food delivered right to my door. This is the miso ramen with chicken katsu and shiitake mushrooms and bok choy. It's a heat and assemble situation, so I'm not cooking from scratch. Everything comes portioned and prepped. All I have to do is warm it up, build the bowl, and it tastes like restaurant ramen at home. The broth is savory, the katsu is crispy, and the shiitake and bok choy makes it feel fresh. And if you're trying to stay on track without having to eat the same thing every day, the app makes it easy to filter for your goals, and they even have a fitness fuel menu for higher protein options. Go to the link in the description box now to try Cook Unity and get 50% off your first order of chef-made meals delivered fresh to your door. And again, use the link in the description box and use my special code Honeysuckle to get 50% off your first Cook Unity order. These are Airheads, and they're a classic, but I can't decide if my favorite flavor is this mystery one, which tastes like fruit punch, or this one, which is watermelon. But since it's summer, that sour taffy chew is so good. Let's try to recreate this using this TikTok recipe. Okay, into a pot, she starts by adding 1 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, half a cup of corn syrup, 1 tablespoon of margarine, I'm gonna use butter, 3/4 of a cup of apple juice, some salt, and then she says to cover and bring it to a boil for 3 minutes. And I wasn't sure if she meant after 3 minutes it reaches 240 degrees, but that's what we have to bring it up to. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes and my butter's still just sitting there, so I feel like we need to give it a stir. And we definitely should have given it a stir from the beginning because the cornstarch is clumping up. Okay, dodge that, but now let's see what temperature it's at. We're only at 220. It's finally reached 240, and I can confirm that took about 12 minutes to come to temperature. But now she adds in her color and flavoring. I'm gonna add in my super concentrated watermelon drops, and then we're gonna try to match the Airhead color. A hint of green and maybe a drop of blue. I'll try to get it as close as possible. I mean, it's not atomic, but that looks pretty close. Maybe a little bit more blue and a little drop of green. I don't know if that's close enough. But now she dumps in a tablespoon of flour. I don't know if she's fooling us or if the flour is just gonna melt away later, but there's some major clumping going on. It is what it is, but now we have to pour it onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and let it cool completely. I hope this works. Our Airheads have cooled completely and it's pretty firm. But now let's go ahead and cut it up. Is this gonna come off of the parchment paper? It's sticky. Let's cut a smaller piece. Okay. I try to get the color as close as possible, and as it seems, a lot more stretchy too. Let's try it. That, my friend, is nothing close to an Airhead. It may kind of look like one, but it's sticky, weird, cornstarchy goop. 2 out of 10. This crispy bacon hack with 3.8 million views involves cooking bacon in water. I guess by controlling the cooking process this way, you achieve evenly crisp bacon without getting chewy tendons and like burnt bacon bits. So we'll place the bacon down and then cover it just with enough water and let it evaporate. It appears that we are just boiling our bacon, but what it's doing is rendering out the fat. I'm still skeptical about this. The bacon is curling up, so I'm actually just gonna flip mine. I'll leave this one as is to see if it straightens up. Okay, it looks like the water is evaporating and the one that I did not flip actually did straighten out while the ones that I flipped curled up. But now we're gonna see if it cooks in its own fat. I'm not sure about the actual bacon itself, but the rendered fat is now sticking to the pan and starting to burn. Kind of gross. I'm gonna call it early and say this hack is a bust. As this comment said, just toss it in a cold oven at like 425. A slow rise will render the fat and then it comes out crispy. That's how you make crispy bacon. I'm gonna give this hack 3 out of 10. With 15.2 million views, this is an egg separating hack that uses a garlic clove. Apparently, all you're supposed to do is rub your finger on a garlic clove and then it creates like a non-stick barrier that allows you to pick pick up the egg yolk without breaking it. What happens if you have nails? So am I just supposed to rub the outside like this, or am I supposed to cut it? Rub it real good. I'm just gonna use my pinch fingers. No! I did not puncture it with my nail, but it totally does not work. I have to try this again. He made it look way too easy. Okay, so he has a really good grip on it. Just picks it up. Is this like a salted cured egg? Ain't no way, because it doesn't work. 3 out of 10, but you guys try it and let me know if it works for you. Next up, with 20 million views, we're making something called a dry yogurt bowl that people were saying, I thought this really looked like slime, but to me, it kind of looks like kinetic sand. So I found the directions in another video that starts with putting yogurt, any kind of Greek yogurt, into a bowl, and we're gonna make them 2 colors here. Just to copy that beautiful cotton candy color, I'm gonna be adding blue spirulina and our dragon fruit powder. I feel like we can add a little bit more. I want it pink. Oh yeah. Now let's add our blue spirulina. I want this blue. Oh, that is so pretty. Okay, so to dry out the yogurt, I've seen a lot of people just put the yogurt inside a bowl with some paper towel line to drain the whey. But you know how much I love gadgets, so I found this one that has a built-in strainer. You put it into this compartment, and the liquid from the yogurt is supposed to just drain directly into this inner bowl. But first, you have to line it with the cheesecloth. I don't really know if this is necessary because you already have the strainer, but they did it, so I'm going with it. Okay, now I have to carefully place. Whoa. Okay, well, she poured hers at the same time. How is that even possible? Mine's thick. Oh my gosh. Oh, don't touch. Is it working? It's definitely gonna smash, but it looks cool. I'm just gonna eat this later. Okay, now she tucks the cheesecloth in, and then there's this other piece right here. It's also a strainer, which is kind of interesting, and it goes right on top. Press it down. This is how they're able to form that perfect looking puck. And then you have this spring. Boing. It just goes right here. There we go. And finally, this bigger cap that goes on top, and then it just lays down the pressure on our yogurt. Is it gonna hold? Oh, you can already see the liquid dropping. Wow. But now I'm supposed to refrigerate it for a day and a half, so we'll check on it a little later. Let's see how the dry yogurt turned out. Oh, was not expecting a Jack in the Box. This is what it looks like from the top. Let me pull out the yogurt. It's very liquidy, so all of the liquid content, water content from the yogurt has drained down. So this feels like a puck. That's crazy. Someone said this is just labna, which I guess is like an even more strained yogurt. I feel like that would get stuck on the roof of my mouth. You're telling me that is edible? Well, we're about to find out. And I feel like this part is why it got so viral. Oh, I guess it spreads more like cheese than it does kinetic sand, but it does look dry. So satisfying. Now she forms it into a cone shape towards the middle, and then we add a layer of granola or some nuts, strawberries, frozen blueberries, banana, some dragon fruit, and then a host of other stuff. A little bit of everything. As with anything we see on social media, is this actually good or is it just for looks? Dry yogurt is right. It's so dry and it does get stuck on the roof of my mouth purely just for looks. 3 out of 10. This next one might be too good to be true because she said you can make the richest, fudgiest brownies with just these 3 ingredients. There's no eggs or flour. But she starts off by mashing 3 overripe bananas, and luckily I have some. Somebody asked, does this even work? I'm not about to waste all my ingredients because I want dairy-free brownies. Well, I will let you know. I will say though, if this actually works, I'd be excited because I was starting to get tired of banana bread. Now she adds in a giant dollop of peanut butter. This is where I'm starting to get skeptical. Somebody said hard to make without the recipe and baking time. I'm just kind of eyeballing this. Now we add some cocoa powder. Someone said no shade, but unsweetened cocoa powder is giving ... bitter. I don't think it'll be bitter because the bananas are pretty ripe, but I do wonder if these brownies are just gonna taste like bananas. This has the consistency of like chocolate frosting, except there's chunks of bananas in here. Okay, but after she mixes it, she adds it to a baking pan already lined with parchment paper, and then she adds a sprinkle of mini chocolate chips on top just to make it pretty. Okay, now we're gonna bake it up and hopefully it's a miracle and not a scam. Surprisingly, the edges looks like it baked up real nice and has firmed up, and the inside is kind of still undone like a real brownie. I'm gonna let it cool a little bit before we cut into it. Okay, let's see how it turned out. Interesting. It looks like a dough here. Cut it open. The knife looks kind of creamy. So far, so good. Let's grab a square. Whoa. The center looks creamy. It looks more like like a pudding than it does like a brownie. It still smells mostly like bananas. Let's see if it's any good. This is not a brownie. It's like eating cooked mushy bananas and I don't like it. I'll take a real brownie any day over this baked goop. 4 out of 10. This is a Dippin Dots maker. You know those frozen mini ice cream dots you can get at the mall? 12-year-old me would have been so excited. And honestly, I'm just as ecstatic today. So it comes with the stand and then a few pieces, including this liquid dot dispenser. You have 3 of them. Tripophobia warning. You have 6 of these mini dot molds where the liquid dispenses into down here. And then I guess if you don't want to use the machines or just want to like mix them, you have these dot pens where you can do them individually. One of my favorite Dippin Dots is the Neapolitan. So we're gonna do chocolate, a vanilla base, and strawberry. It's a cute little bowl, but I have to hold it while I pour. But then we just, oh shoot. Wait, how does that work? Okay, so there is a lock to keep it from dispensing right away like that. Oh shoot, it's leaking out of this. No! This funnel is filled. And now we funnel. 1, 2, 3. Oh wow, it just totally fills up all of the little gaps and is definitely triggering my trypophobia. Goosebumps. At least it stopped leaking. And our chocolate one is done. I'm gonna have to put something heavy on it later. But now I kind of want to try this dot pen that it came with. But like, does it really matter? This is gonna take forever. But it's kind of fun. I'm gonna try this again. Oh, see? It like totally overfilled. Those are not gonna turn into dots. Okay. Oh, got it in my hair. Okay. My favorite ice cream flavor is strawberry. So I'm gonna make a strawberry yogurt smoothie type of concoction to fill up our next tray. I'll just add some yogurt, fresh strawberries, milk, and some maple syrup and blend it up. I mean, to be fair, the 1-star reviews for this gadget said, this is the most disappointing item that I've ever purchased. I must say, this is by far one of the messiest toys ever created. Hello. It's so thick that it's only dispensing 1 dot at a time. By all means, move at a glacial pace. Now all we have to do is freeze them, and I'm gonna check on them a little bit later. Our Dippin Dots are ready. Nice and frozen. If this is anything like an ice mold, all I have to do is kind of twist it and it should come out. But are they gonna be little dots? They even came with these little Dippin Dots bowls and they're blue spoons. Oh no! They're not really dots and they're not breaking up into dots. Let me see how I can get them out. Maybe I just have to crush them a little bit. Let me see how our chocolate one did. What? That one looks even worse. Well, this one was my first try, so it was like a rookie mistake. Maybe the pen one did a little better. You have a swirly design, but it doesn't bubble up, and I actually don't even know how I'm gonna get these out. Maybe that 1-star review was right. This is more of a toy than an actual working gadget. Definitely freezes in my mouth like regular Dippin Dots, but I don't think you're gonna get a permanent spot on my counter either. 5 out of 10. This might be the most satisfying cup of coffee or the most stressful, depending on how you look at it. But this creator put a bar of chocolate right on top of his mug and pulls a shot of espresso right on top of the chocolate bar. So let's test it. Okay, now we're supposed to put it right underneath the espresso shot, and the heat from the shot is supposed to melt through the center of the chocolate so that it doesn't overflow. I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna pull the shot and we're gonna hope and pray that it does not overflow all over my counter. Let's do a double shot. Somebody said, me, I'm just waiting for the overspill. Shot 1 did not melt it. Maybe I had to do a single shot. Let me try it. Honestly, I don't think it would have mattered because I have 2 spouts and he only has 1 coming out for some reason. It half worked, but nowhere near as satisfying as that video. Even with Hershey's, it tastes pretty good. 5 out of 10. This is a snow globe cake where the globe will be made purely out of sugar. The process is crazy, but let's go ahead and get started on decorating the base because I know I can do that. I have a chocolate cake that I made earlier, similar to his. I already have some frosting here, chocolate, that we're just gonna spread around, get it into a nice even layer on top. I'm not even gonna bother crumb coating it because we're gonna texturize it anyways, but I do need more frosting. Now it looks like a log, so I'm gonna go in with the fork and just make little indentations. So far, so good. I'm doing squiggly lines so it doesn't look like a straight log. Wow, that's so therapeutic. It reminds me of one of those sand scraper Zen gadgets. I'm glad because I'm about to be really stressed out by making that sugar globe. Now we're gonna spread a layer of white frosting on top of the chocolate to build a little snow scene. He first lays down some logs, which I basically just took my Madeleine, cut them out and frosted them. And then we're gonna do kind of like a stacking situation like his. Then we have some cranberries that'll act as the little hollies. And even if the snow globe doesn't work out, I'd be pretty proud of this. For the Christmas tree, I'm gonna use a toothpick and then we're just gonna pipe around it. I'm hoping this is the right tip. The most challenging part is trying to get the leaves to be smaller and smaller. Maybe fill in the gaps so that it looks like a full tree. And of course, every Christmas tree needs to have a topper, so let's add some greenery. This looks really good, but now it's time to tackle that sugar globe. All right, first things first, we gotta cook up our sugar. So in a saucepan, I'm gonna add sugar, water, and corn syrup, and then let it come to a boil up to 300 degrees. I'm gonna stir it once, then leave it alone because I don't want the sugar to crystallize. Our sugar is looking a lot more yellow than I want, and somebody in the comments once told me that to combat the yellowness, I need to add a tint of purple in there to make it white. Let's just hope I don't dye the whole thing purple, because knowing me, this is gonna turn purple. I don't know if that was enough to do anything, but I think I'm gonna stop right there. And we're at temp. It's looking quite amber actually. But either way, I have to let it cool down now to 250 degrees before I pour it over this balloon. I only have two, so I have 2 tries to do this. If it pops and it doesn't work, well then this is the cake that we're just gonna end up with. But I need to blow this balloon up to about 6 inches, big enough to cover this cake. A little more. That looks about right. Let me go ahead and tie it. Since I'm smart enough to know that balloon touching hot sugar is probably going to explode, somebody in the comments asked, how does the balloon not burst from the heat? And the creator said, you need to get it to the right temperature when you handle sugar. And somebody else asked, well then what temperature should it be? And he says 150°C, then cool down to 120°C, which is approximately 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, it's at temp. The problem with letting it cool this much is now it's kind of stringy and it seems hard to pour. Here goes. Please don't pop. It's not popping. Okay, I gotta make a swirl around the balloon to make sure we get a globe and not just a blob. This is actually working. No, 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 no. Stop! What happened? Attempt number 1, an absolute failure. We were doing so well. Let's try again. Okay, this is my last balloon, but I think I'm gonna rub it with some oil to create a barrier. So weird. Okay, it's significantly cooler at 225 degrees now, which hopefully is enough for it to not pop. Well, I guess certain things should be left to the professionals. But comment globe below if you guys want me to try this again with the stronger balloon. But at least we still have cake. That's good. 5 out of 10 for effort. Now with 20 million views, we're gonna make wax candy. She starts by melting a whole block of wax. I went online trying to find beeswax that was food grade, and mine doesn't exactly look like hers. People were so confused. Can I eat the wax part or no? They melt almost immediately. They look more like butter sticks than beeswax sticks. Honestly, it smells like honey. It smells so good. She pours it into a Pyrex cup, and then she has all these molds. The coolest one she did was with this Dubai chocolate bar, and she just covers the bottom. Let me get the sides covered. So I think that the wax that I bought was like the unfiltered, pure, natural kind, and I made sure to buy the food grade kind because someone in here said, saw a girl make wax candy, but she used ... candle wax, and I'm pretty sure you can't eat that. Okay, this one's starting to harden, so I have to dump the rest out. Oh, it does leave a nice little shell. Then they fill it up with some jam. I'm gonna use some strawberry on these strawberry molds. Is wax candy really just jam in the middle? And then for these orange slices, I have this lemon honey jam. So this one, she does a cool ombre effect where she'll like go lightest to darkest. It looks so pretty. I had to melt more wax to cover everything. Okay, now she says just pop it in the fridge for like 20 minutes until everything gets nice and hard. It's ready. It feels nice and hard. Part of me is like afraid of breaking it, even though I know wax is pretty sturdy. Oh, wow. The little dimples in the wax, it actually looks like a little strawberry, an albino one. That's so cute. Now we get our citron. I gotta work on my wax coverage. Oh, what? Whoa. You can't really see through mine as much as you could with hers, but it's got like a stained glass vibe. How exactly are you supposed to eat this? Chew the wax like gum and then you spit it out. It reminds me of my days of wearing braces where I would just be chewing on the wax that goes over the metal piece. 5 out of 10. And now we have these frozen jellies that went viral years ago, and I've always wanted to try them. This creator made 3 different types, where the first one, all she did was add some honey to a mini water bottle and froze it for a few hours. Apparently real honey doesn't freeze all the way, it just becomes like this beautiful cold jelly. And honestly, on a hot day, that sounds so good. But now she also does another combo with corn syrup and Kool-Aid that's supposed to have an even better squeeze or jelly texture. But first she says she's gonna mix it in a cup and then pour it into the bottle. She didn't show us the mixing process, so I don't know if the one she's using is liquid. Does Kool-Aid mix with corn syrup? Or was I supposed to add water first? Okay, that looks pretty good. It's definitely a smooth pour. Oh, I still have some powder at the bottom. I'm gonna try to fill this bottle up. And now for our last one, I have to do an experiment because I've seen other videos where people add candy into their jelly. And of course, I wanna try it with nerds. And I also wonder what'll happen if I mix half honey, half corn syrup with some nerds in there. Will it be the ultimate frozen jelly texture? Now let's give it a good shake and mix it all together. This looks so cool. It's kind of like a lava lamp. But now we have to freeze them for a few hours. It's been a few hours and these jellies are not super firm, but they're definitely frozen. Let's see how our first one, the frozen honey, turned out. As it froze, it definitely rose to the top. Whoa! This reminds me of those juicy tube squeeze. People are asking, is this gonna work with braces? Now, I don't have braces, but I'll let you know how hard it is. I can confirm that you probably could bite it off if you have braces, but it's extremely sweet. It's like eating a spoonful of honey. It's nice and cold though. Now let's see how the Kool-Aid one turned out with the corn syrup. This one is a lot more gooey and soft. I don't think I could squeeze it as tall as the frozen honey without it spilling over, but I think this is good. This one definitely tastes like candy. It's just soft and really sweet. Now let's try our nerds combo. I feel like I probably could have dyed this a different color too, because this red just looks so pretty. That's so interesting. It feels like it almost split in half, because this side, if I press it, goes up high, but then this side barely moves. The corn syrup definitely comes out first, and I'd have to get all of that out before I can get to any of the nerds. It looks like an elephant. It definitely tastes like crunchy, soft honey. It was a fun experiment, but I don't know if I would actually eat this as candy ever because it's so sweet. 6 out of 10. With 10 million views, this is your sign to make rice paper croissant. Okay, so it looks like she starts off by dipping her rice papers into like a custard mixture. Somebody said French toast rice paper croissant. 3 in 1. Let's try it. I found another video and you're supposed to mix an egg, milk, sugar, melted butter, vanilla extract, a little bit of cinnamon, and you just need a tiny pinch of the baking powder. I think it's supposed to make it fluffy and flaky instead of gummy. It's a science. Somebody else said this is the biggest trust the process ever. Okay, so once the mixture's done, it looks like she dipped 3 layers of rice paper and lies them on top of each other. I'm not sure, but how wet are we supposed to make this here? Layer 1. I never knew there were so many ways to use rice paper. Somebody said, as someone who is gluten-free yet loves croissants, you're definitely gonna try this. If this turns out, it may just be a game changer. Oh, just cracked it. Layer 2. Usually with croissants, they make it flaky by putting layers and layers of butter in between. Now she starts cutting a triangle in the middle, but the bottom rice paper is sticking to the cutting board, so there's that. Okay, now she takes a smaller piece and lays it right on top of the triangle, but this piece right here goes sideways at the bottom, and then she rolls it up. Okay, I guess this piece kind of sticks out like the tail of a croissant. I folded it this way. Yeah, okay. It kind of looks like a little crab. Okay, but now she places it onto a baking sheet, sprinkles it with a little bit of sugar on top, and into the oven it goes for 30 minutes. Whoa! Our croissant is done. The tail end is a little bit brown, but for the most part, it looks beautiful, if not a little bit oily from the butter. Okay, I have to see how crispy it is. Is it even a TikTok recipe if I don't do these ASMR sounds? Let's just break this up. Is it gummy or is it flaky? It doesn't tear very easily. I knew it was too good to be true. Mine is super gummy on the inside. Sad. But let's see if the outer parts are a little more flaky. It's definitely chewy. It kind of sticks to your teeth. Not being gluten-free, maybe I'm spoiled, but I'd much rather have a regular croissant. Rice paper croissant gets 6 out of 10. This next candy is what someone calls an upgraded Dubai chocolate bar. And the creator says you only need 5 ingredients, except I'm gonna pare it down to 2, maybe 3. But he basically starts by making his angel hair, to which somebody says, "Sir, that's dragon's beard." And we've tried this before from scratch and it worked okay, but I found this other TikTok that says you can use haichu to make dragon's beard. So let's try it. Okay, apparently I'm supposed to squish together like 12 haichus. 4, 5, 9, 10. Why do 12 when we can just have 20? Let's unwrap this. Okay, so I feel like these are a little hard to squish together, but this creator did say if they're too hard, then just kind of warm them up in the microwave a little bit. Ooh, they're perfectly squishy, a little too squishy. Well, at least I know it works. But now we have to squish it into a ball like this, and then poke a hole in the middle like a donut. All right, and similar to what the original creator did, dip it in some cornstarch and start stretching. You just have to stretch it evenly or else it breaks. I didn't get very far the last time. Hopefully I get a little further this time. This is already breaking on me. Wow. We've got noodles, but we need threads. Hair, in fact. This twisting method works really well. It does get tougher as you go though, but it's looking good. It's looking real good. Maybe haichu's the way to go. They started kind of all falling apart, but I think we were able to get some pretty good looking angel hair or dragon's beard. So now he melts his candy melts in 2 different colors. I don't have 2 different colors, but we're gonna dye ours later. I'm gonna transfer half into another bowl. Somebody said, "Sir, that's a Lorax in your chocolate," but since my haichu was pink, I think I'm gonna turn mine into more of a unicorn. Let's first spray our mold with some magic fairy dust. And then he starts by splattering his with a little bit of blue. Mine's purple. It's not coming out very even. That's good. Now let's fill the chocolate mold. And then here comes the fun part. We're gonna carefully lay our angel hair right in the center, pour more chocolate over it to cover, and then we're gonna let it set. Our chocolate is set. Let's reveal it. Looking good. Ooh. Looking so beautiful with the gold dust. This is almost more holographic than the other holographic chocolate. Let's break it open. It's a brick. Oh, you know, mine didn't have that satisfying dragon's beard pool like he did. Mine just kind of snapped in half because it was kind of hard to break. I mean, someone did say, I thought angel hair was the hardest candy to make. I keep proving that true. Maybe I'll have to try again another time, but let's give this a try. Not bad. It's exactly what it is. Strawberry haichu covered in white chocolate, but I definitely take Dubai chocolate over this any day. 7 out of 10. I've been seeing this drink called a Dirty Dr. Pepper all over TikTok. Is it actually good or is it a total scam? Because it adds so much to it. Like, how can it actually taste good? But to make a good drink, it always starts with some pebble ice. And now we add some Dr. Pepper, but I've seen variations from regular, diet, zero. I'm gonna try the new blackberry flavor. Then she adds a big splash of grenadine as if this wasn't already flavorful. True lime packets, I've seen people use real lime. That's all I have. Is that enough? Then we add in some maraschino cherries for the vibes. A little bit of its syrup too, because the grenadine was not enough. And now she adds some creamer, but somebody said a Dirty Dr. Pepper is a coconut flavoring lime juice and sweet cream. You made a cherry lime coconut Dr. Pepper. Sorry. Does it matter though? Because after you add all of that syrup, can you even tell it's not sweet cream anymore? There's a lot going on in this Dirty Dr. Pepper. About the only thing missing from it now is a little bit of glitter. And of course I made a mess, but they did say it's dirty. Somehow we put in so much syrup in here, but it doesn't taste ultra sweet, which is what I thought it would taste like. It has like a nice hint of coconut with that lime, which is so refreshing. I kind of get the hype. 7 out of 10. This recipe is so lazy. I only need 3 ingredients and we don't even have to cook. Sign me up. But it's basically an Oreo tiramisu, or as someone said, off-brand chocolate lasagna. She starts by opening up a package of double stuffed Oreos and dips each one into milk. I mean, there's usually only one place where this goes. And then layers it into a baking dish. But dipping one by one seems inefficient. I'm gonna do 2 at a time. Somebody said a fork would help you dip them without your fingers getting cold. Honestly, I don't mind too much. Now she takes Cool Whip and spreads a layer right over and then repeats the process with the Oreos. Oreos. Someone else said level up that middle layer and add chocolate pudding. I feel like that would be good. But then that won't be lazy enough. Another layer of Cool Whip. We'll smooth this out. And she doesn't say. Someone says you're supposed to refrigerate this for a few hours because their Oreos stayed hard. We'll check on that later. Our Oreo icebox cake is done. And I'm quite surprised that the whipped cream topping did not deflate. Now the only thing left to do is cut into our Oreo lasagna. Feels kind of hard to cut through. Oh, there's a crunch to it. I was not expecting that. I thought this was supposed to get soft. Ooh, look at those layers. Let me just go ahead and slide this off. Then it looks like she drizzles some chocolate sauce on top. And to me, this looks like my favorite cookies and cream ice cream sundae. So I'm gonna add a cherry on top. That looks so good. And hopefully it tastes as good as it looks. Why is the cookie so hard to cut through? Is this how it's supposed to be? If you guys have ever made this before, let me know in the comments. It's like eating a mushy Oreo with a ton of whipped cream on top. And honestly, it's not bad, but I think ice cream would have been so much better. But this lazy Oreo lasagna gets 7 out of 10. So there's this restaurant in New York City called Devel that started this whole checkered toast trend where you're supposed to just layer on your cream cheese and jam on thick milk toast like a checkerboard, but they sell it for $10 to $13 per piece of toast. Someone said $10 for one piece of toast, blood tweaking. I got this whole loaf for $5.50. And we're just gonna be toasting one piece up. So while it's toasting, I have my materials. They have a popular one that's all over TikTok, berries and cream. So I've got strawberry jam and some whipped cream cheese left over from my bagel order. It looks like they're using 2 different spreaders to keep them really clean. So we're gonna go in with the cream cheese first. Don't know why, but this makes me nervous. So you lay it down and then kind of press and pull. Ooh, that was fun. The jam, mine looks kind of runny. Oh, the jam was a fail, but I feel like it's more for the color. I'm gonna go a little lighter on the cream cheese, and this is gonna take me all day. So I can see why this costs so much for them to make. They paint every stroke by hand. The jam is tricky. I feel like using thick jam would make more sense, and I just ruined it. Toast never took so long, which makes me wonder how long does it take for everyone to get their order. I almost feel like piping this would be easier. Once it starts to come together though, it looks pretty cool. Final swipe. It started well. Some people online even go as far as just smearing the whole thing afterwards, but you know what? It took me time to create this art. I'm gonna enjoy it. People in the comments seriously thought this was slime. They said, that's not slime. Ah, thank goodness. But apparently, satisfying food art all resembles slime. Cream cheese jam toast. That'll be $12, please. 7 out of 10. Check me. And now I saved my personal favorite candy, Ferrero Rocher, for last. They're crunchy little gold chocolate nuggets with a surprise center. I'll let you in on a secret. There's Nutella in here. But this TikTok recipe made them look so easy to make. I gotta try. She starts by adding some of these vanilla looking wafer cookies. She crushes them up with something, but I have this muddler right here that we're just gonna go to town with. This looks nice and crumbly. Now she adds in a nice dollop of Nutella. Somebody said, that looks so good. I'm gonna try it, but I think I'm gonna put more Nutella. Just you wait. There's more coming. Okay, now I'm just gonna mix it until it becomes more like a cookie dough consistency. Now she takes her cookie mixture. She takes a little bit of the Nutella. It's so sticky. And then she stuffs the center with a hazelnut. Oh man, this is like melting in my hands. I'm gonna try to roll it into as close of a ball as I can, and then we're gonna place it on this rack. This is a giant Ferrero Rocher. I think I need to add a lot more cookies to this mixture because, okay, much better, I think. Still very crumbly, not really holding. Let's try this again. Swipe it, stuff it, and cover it. All right, I think we got it. It's still super big though. And now she breaks her Lindt chocolate into a bowl and melts it. Somebody says, using Lindt to make Ferrero seems illegal. Lol. Is it illegal to use Ghirardelli? Okay, our chocolate's nice and melted. But while it finishes melting, we're gonna add some hazelnuts to a bag and I'm gonna crush them. Pour the crushed hazelnuts into the melted chocolate. Give it a quick mix. And now she pours it right over her Nutella balls. It's not getting great coverage. I feel like it's better if we dip it in there. For sure, dipping is the way to go. Or not, because it fell apart. This way just wastes so much chocolate though is the problem to get it covered. And once they've set, this this is what they look like. A giant and sad brown blobs of bees. But you know what? They might still taste good. So here's Ferrero. The crunchy outer shell, the Nutella center with the hazelnut inside. This is so good. Now let's chop up one of ours. Not quite a ball anymore. But you do see the hazelnut center and a little tiny bit of the Nutella. But it's mixed into that crunchy cookie anyways, so not exactly the same, but you get the textures, the flavors, the hazelnut, and the coating. This is gonna be a hard one. I feel like with a few tweaks, this could have been really good, and maybe I'm gonna try this again, but I'm gonna have to give this round to Ferrero Rocher. But this TikTok version gets 8 out of 10. And now we have one of my personal favorites, Jane Brain, who's making these burger fries cups. I never really know if she's trying to troll us or she's actually just being creative, but this one looks like it could be good. She starts by laying frozen fries down into muffin tin. And since I'm not sure if her recipe's gonna work, we're just gonna do 4. And then she forms a little cup around the outside, just like sticking up like this. I'm gonna say the precision of her forming those cups takes a little bit of engineering because mine's not really standing up. Mine looks terrible. Maybe once we add the stuffing, it'll be better. We're just gonna do 3. So then she adds shredded mozzarella at the bottom. I guess that'll be our glue to hold the fries. And then she adds not a burger patty, but minced burger meat. Okay, I gotta make the burger meat first. So I'm gonna scramble a little bit of beef, add salt, pepper, and onion powder to make my deconstructed patty. All right, burger's looking good. Let's add it to the center. Okay, now she tops it off with some melty American cheese. And then we're gonna bake this off until the fries are nice and crispy. There's no way that she put it in the oven for 35 minutes to get the cheese melty and crispy at the same time because my cheese burned. Thanks, Jane Brain. Even if she used cheddar, for being in the oven that long, it would have melted down anyways. Oh well. But now she adds special sauce on top of it, which is just burger sauce, some chopped up onions, a slice of pickle per cup, and then a sprinkling of sesame seeds, which she says has some nutrients, just not sure what. But this just makes it look like a burger. And now let's see if I can get it out of the tin. Aha, let's evaluate it. The cheese at the bottom is kind of burnt, but I'm not mad about that. The fries are barely crispy. It looks like a little crown, like a Burger King. How do you eat this? It's like a burger, fries, nacho in a cup. It's all the same ingredients, just arranged differently. 8 out of 10. Next up, we have her grandma's soft, buttery, homemade caramels that she says are the best around. Wow. You know, you can't go wrong when it's grandma's recipes, so let's try it. Okay, she starts by adding a stick of butter. I'm using salted, I hope that's right. Didn't say. Sugar, corn syrup. I'm noticing if you make candy, you gotta have this stuff. And a little bit of salt into her pan, and then she brings it to a boil. This doesn't look like one of those chewy caramels. It looks like those soft, pooly ones. Okay, the edge of the syrup is starting to boil, but not really the sugar, so I'm gonna give it a stir. And apparently this recipe was so good that it was printed in the church cookbook. Somebody said, you know, those church cookbooks are like the holy grail of cooking. I don't know, if this turns out, I may need to try more of those recipes. All right, it's nice and melted and boiling, and then she says we have to add evaporated milk slowly for 15 minutes. Now, I wasn't sure if she meant just like dump the whole thing in and then stir it for 15 minutes to come to temp, or like slowly add it for 15 minutes. I'm gonna assume that we're gonna boil it for 15 minutes. But this evaporated milk is supposed to give us amazing caramely flavor. So here goes. The can's been added. Now all I have to do is wait till the temperature of this goes up to 238 degrees. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes and I'm still only at 219 degrees. This is gonna take a while. This is definitely a labor of love that only a grandma would do for you. Somebody said it's giving just add magic. I'm saying it's giving are we there yet? Whoa, stand back. All right, I'm cranking up the heat and let's hope this doesn't burn. It's finally at temp and now we pour it into a prepared pan. Whoa. I just lined mine with parchment paper. Mine's looking a little clumpy, but we have to let it cool all the way and then pop it into the fridge. All right, grandma's caramels are fully set. The good news is my store-bought ones are pretty similar in color. But now the true test is to see if mine actually turned out. Oh, okay, because it's so buttery, it's not sticking to the parchment paper either, which is a good sign. Oh my gosh. Grandma knows what she's talking about. Let's cut this into pieces. Even though it's cold, it's still pliable and soft and squishy. But before we try mine, I want to try the original to see how it compares. Really sticky. Okay, let's try grandma's. There's not as much of a stretch, but the flavor is definitely there. It has like this brown butter caramelly flavor that's so good, with just a hint of salt. Grandma knows best and an 8 out of 10. This is a vintage looking milkshake maker. It's giving 50s diner vibe. It looks pretty heavy duty, like it's made of metal, but it's light and plastic. This one cost me $42, but it got 5 stars. Someone said, really works amazing. Sold. So it comes in this whole piece like this. I'm guessing this thing should detach, except don't know how. You have a cool little stainless steel tumbler. We'll do a practice run by cleaning it. Oh, whoa. That creates a very strong whirlpool. There's 2 levels. I'll go with the lower one. Okay, I think that's good enough. This gave me an idea. I'm gonna try my own McFlurry milkshake and hopefully my machine doesn't malfunction. We're gonna add vanilla ice cream, a little bit of milk, and I thought these Chinese Oreos would go perfectly in this McFlurry. The flavors are grape and peach. I didn't get them on Temu though. They smell like grape candy, grape soda. They don't taste good. No, they're actually half and half. I think I'm just gonna use the cookie. They're so bad. Now let's let it flurry. Whoa. It's actually doing such an amazing job breaking it up, but I think I need another scoop of ice cream. I want it thick. I wish I could take this thing off to clean it somehow. I probably didn't even need to add milk in here. Is this milkshake maker from Temu a scam? Not exactly a McFlurry, but it definitely did its job. 8 out of 10. And now we have what looks like the easiest chocolate cake hack. He starts off with the bread like this, and then he takes a piece of chocolate, sticks it in the corner, then he folds it over diagonally. My piece of bread might be a little too thick. But then he takes a cup and just crimps it out, kind of like a dumpling. I hope my cup is sharp enough to cut through this bread. Let's give it a quick twist. Oh, I think it's stuck. Here we go. Oh man, my chocolate is too big. Didn't quite crimp through. Let's try this again. Okay, let me stick it right in the middle so that we give it enough room. And then I gotta put my cup a little bit further so we're not touching the chocolate. Okay, let's do it hard. And squeeze, and we're out. Yes. It's like an, it won't stick. I don't know what's going on because 100% this would have worked with an Uncrustable. Am I gonna have to go through the entire package of bread just to make this work? I've got a softer and thinner bread. Let's get our chocolate. Hopefully this will work. They say 3rd time's a charm. Let's see if this is actually the case. Are you gonna stick? Are you gonna stick? Okay, I think it's stuck. Now let's cook it up. I had to try so hard to at least get this far because somebody said this is the only good thing they've ever seen on TikTok. Really though? But now he places it into a pan and heats it up. Now the question is, for how long and how do I get it nice and melty without it burning? He had to have put a lid on it. Okay, this looks to be done. Let's put it aside. But somebody said, I can't support a recipe that wastes 1/3 of the product. Somebody else said, that's wasteful. But who said anything about waste? Let me show you another hack. I'm gonna add butter to my pan, plop our cutout bread down. I like to smush it and swish it around in butter. Plop down a little bit of cheese for a little cheese blanket. For our egg. That's a hole-in-one. Let me salt and pepper this real quick. I'm gonna add some extra cheese on top. And now if you can't decide between sweet or savory for breakfast, you can have both. A 2-in-1 deal is better than a hole-in-one. I'm more of a savory gal myself, so let's get this egg. Who doesn't love a runny egg? Now let's see our chocolate cake dumpling. Oh, the chocolate is so nice and melty. It just oozes out. The bread probably feels a little crispier than I would like my cake texture to be, but let's just call it a dumpling then. Oh yeah. We almost didn't get to this deliciousness because of the bread, but the effort was well worth it. And I'm gonna say this hack gets 9 out of 10. Something magical can happen with these 2 slices of bread when you're too lazy to make a real dessert. Except this dessert is almost as good as a French pastry called a Queen Amande. Okay, so she starts by adding some melted butter into like a shallow plate, and then we're gonna squeeze a little bit of honey, brown sugar, and then I'm just gonna salt it a little bit and some vanilla extract. Now let's mix it up. Now she actually cuts the crust off of the bread, but I feel like the crust would be good. I'm gonna do one and leave the other whole. Call me crazy, but I actually like eating the crust. And then I'm gonna dip both sides of my bread. I guess you can call this a French toast stick. Get it? Let's make sure we cover the edges. And then add it to a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. It's like a buttery sugar sponge. And now we bake it for 15 minutes. It looks so beautiful and it smells so good. Except she says it comes out kind of soft and squishy still. Yeah, it does. But you're supposed to let it sit for 10 minutes and then it will firm up and get nice and hard. Okay, I've let it cool for 10 minutes and I notice it's developed a sugar crust, kind of like a cheese crust, but this one is sugar. But is it crunchy like she said? And the only way to tell, a real ASMR moment. She made hers without crust, so I'm gonna try this one first. Whoa, that really does taste like a French pastry. It's like crunchy on the outside, and because I use a thick toast, chewy and soft inside, like a croissant. That's crazy. Now let's look at the one with my crust. And I should also mention that the one with crust developed the sugar skirt, while the one without crust did not. So we get a little extra something something with the crust. That tastes so good, but I do have to say the one without the crust remained very crunchy and delicious. So I'm gonna give her recipe 9 out of 10. Now this one is the strawberry dipped chocolate stuffed with brownies like a cake pop, all in one. But I'm gonna start by making my brownie batter. She does it with a box, which is fine. I like mine from scratch. So to a bowl, I'm gonna add some melted butter and sugar, mix it up until it's glossy, and then I'm gonna add my eggs. Surprise! We have yolk twins. That almost never happens. I feel like that might change my recipe a little bit. Vanilla, mix that up until it's lava-like. Now we'll just pour in our cocoa powder, flour, and a little salt. While we're at it, let's add some chocolate chips. Okay, now I'm gonna pour it into my baking pan and we're gonna bake it until it's more cakey than fudgy, because I guess we have to make it like a cake pop. Okay, so while that's baking, let's hollow out our strawberries. It worked. This takes practice. I gotta stab it into the strawberry, twist it, and pull. Haha. Now I just have 10 more to go. Okay, so once she's done hollowing them out, she stands them up in a mini cupcake pan, but I have this cute one with heart, rainbow, unicorns. It just makes me happy. Our brownies are done. And I've already cooled them. So now let's make our cake brownie pop batter. So into a bowl, she adds some cream cheese, vanilla extract, and more chocolate chips. And then she just whips it all up together until creamy sauce. Okay, now we break apart the brownies and just kind of mix it up into the cream cheese. Let me break it up first and then we'll get our hands dirty. It's like playing with slime. I think I need more brownies. Okay, and now I just have to roll up the brownie batter and then stuff the strawberries. You gotta make it into like a torpedo shape to fit. All right, this looks good, but it kind of gives away the surprise, so we have to cover it up. So I have a bowl of chocolate chips. I'm gonna add some coconut oil and melt it down. Okay, let's mix this up real quick. Get it nice and glossy and smooth. Oh, this is harder than I thought. And now I take the strawberries, dip it in the melted chocolate, work fast because it gets messy, add some toppings, sprinkles. I got mini marshmallows too. And then for the lollipop, we're gonna stick in a Pocky stick. So cute! Somebody said, bro, I made these earlier today and they tasted like heaven. For sure, this is gonna make me the coolest auntie on the block. In fact, I think I might want to surprise someone with this. This is Corbin.
Hi.
He's our little goofball.
Yeah.
I made something cool today. You wanna try it?
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
Chocolate covered.
Just chocolate covered strawberries?
With sprinkles on it.
With sprinkles on it. Very astute observation. Okay, I want you to try this one. And then ready? Big bite.
This is like a cake pop.
Yeah.
That's the best thing I ever had.
No way. So were you surprised?
Mm-hmm. 9 out of 10.
Not bad. Now we have this trash can popcorn maker. You're supposed to be able to add your popcorn kernel and butter in here and just let it rip in the microwave to pop. So the directions said to add 85 grams of popcorn kernels. I'd say that's about like half a cup. Let's get some butter in there. And I'm supposed to pop the lid back on and we'll microwave it for, let's say, 3 minutes. Oh my gosh, that's actually so cute. And somehow the steam, the lid, I don't know how it works. It made really good popcorn. But you know what they say, you are what you eat. And this trash can popcorn is pretty good. So a 9 out of 10. And if you guys have made it this far, comment 2026 because we're about to get into the top recipes or hacks of 2025. According to this TikTok, he says you can fry with salt instead of oil. Now that seems a little bit too good to be true and far-fetched. I have to try this. But all you have to do is pour in your salt into a pan and let it come to 300 degrees where it gets nice and golden brown, because apparently that's when it's the right temperature to fry your food. I'm just using table salt. I have so many questions. Like, once it turns brown, are you able to reuse it like the way you can reuse oil to fry? What happens to this salt? Can you eat it afterwards? Ooh, the bottom is starting to turn a little bit yellow. It looks like sand. 296, 302. We're there. I hear like popping noises in here, so I don't know. Is he gaslighting us, or is this actually gonna work? We're gonna try to make rice paper chips because we know that rice paper does get crispy. Whoa! Wait! Are you kidding me? I gotta bury this under the sand completely. This is crazy. Is this what they mean when they call it a salt burn? Oh my goodness. Fried and seasoned. I wonder if it's just super duper salty. And yes, it does burn. That's crazy. But wait, I have to try one more thing. Will salt also pop corn? Let me shake it around. Oh my God. What? This is the coolest hack I've ever tried. Okay. Okay, you gotta chill. But now we're probably all wondering the same thing. Is it just super salty? It doesn't even taste salty at all. There was nothing for this to cling on to the seasoning, so it just tastes like plain rice chips. Popcorn? Also no flavor. I thought we were just trading up high cholesterol for high blood pressure, but apparently this doesn't get salty at all, and this hack gets 10 out of 10. What else can I salt fry? This creator says this drink is the only reason why she buys watermelon in the summer. Not because it's already sweet and refreshing, but it's supposed to taste like the creamiest, refreshing watermelon Gatorade. And it looks pretty easy. So she starts by cutting up her watermelon. Let's hollow this out and add it to our blender. Now in the blender, we're gonna add some Greek yogurt. She doesn't say how much, so I'm just gonna eyeball everything. A squeeze of lime, some honey. Apparently, a pinch of salt's supposed to add extra hydration, and then some ice cubes to make it nice and frothy. Now let's give it a whirl. Somebody said this would go hard with coconut milk instead of yogurt. And now she fills it into her cup full of ice. For me, summer drinks always taste better with pebble ice. That looks so good. And of course, we have to garnish it with this side of lime. Somebody said, oh my God, this with matcha. That would be so good, but I kind of want to try how it is first. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. First things first, this tastes nothing like a Gatorade, but it tastes like a creamy watermelon popsicle, creamsicle, ice cream, sorbet dessert, and it's so good. 10 out of 10. Now we don't have just regular boba, we have jumbo boba. It's so fat, squishy, and cute. Someone said it's not milk tea with boba, it's boba with milk tea. And he doesn't exactly show us what it is, but in the comments everyone said it's grass jelly. Imagine if it's coffee jelly. Let's make coffee jelly. For the jelly, we're not using tapioca like they normally do for bobas. I'm gonna be using gelatin, so I'm just gonna sprinkle some gelatin over my water and let it bloom. And then just to give it more of that like chewy texture, I'm gonna mix in some cornstarch. This will give us that slight bouncy chew. So while the gelatin and slurry is doing its thing, we're gonna cook up our coffee and sugar. I already brewed my coffee, so I'm gonna pour it into the saucepan along with the sugar, and we're just gonna heat it until the sugar dissolves. Make sure you don't boil the coffee though, because it's gonna ruin the gelatin when we add it. Once the sugar's dissolved, I'm gonna add the slurry. Let it cook for 1 to 2 minutes until it's like slightly thickened, and then turn off the heat, add our bloom gelatin, and then just stir until it's fully dissolved. I could definitely relate to this comment. Oh my God, thank you for showing me how to use that ice tray. I struggle with ice trays. Okay, and then once you press down the cover, any excess coffee mixture is supposed to squirt out of the hole right here, and then you have perfectly round balls in the fridge. Oh, well that was aggressive. Now we'll stick it in the fridge for a few hours and I'll check on it later. I've heard of this breaking on people. Do it slowly. Oh, it's so cool. Let's dump them onto a plate. They're so bouncy. Oh my gosh. It's like one of those little baby bouncing balls you get at the dentist office. Okay, now I'm gonna transfer the boba balls into my cup. Oh gosh. No! Just to make it truly my boba with the side of milk tea, I actually found this brown sugar creamer that I think would be perfect with our coffee jelly. At that satisfying pour. I don't have a big enough boba straw for this, but my spoon will do the job. Actually though, it has the exact texture of grass jelly and then the satisfying chew and roundness of a boba, except bigger and better. I'm gonna give jumbo coffee boba like straight up 10 out of 10. Anyways, if you guys like this video, go watch me test an hour of dessert TikTok recipes, and thank you so much for an awesome year. I'll see you guys next year.